weiß Bescheid. Nintendo.
Welcome to the most forward-thinking, inspirational podcast on the planet. Prepare to reevaluate everything you've been taught.
They can tell us we're crazy, and we can say, well, you haven't seen anything yet.
Possessed by perfection, in this land, if you're awake, you're the enemy.
Where they lead, you will follow. Well, I guess that's just the way it goes. And if you look away, you'll be doing what they say. And if you look alive, you'll be singled out and tried. If you take every day. Pick your scene and take direction. And on a search to connect. But I don't wear a mask and I have no regret.
Down on your knees, you don't look so tall. Open your eyes and the empire falls.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mental Mastery Alliance podcast. Today, shortest month of the year, but the most podcasts we're cramming in. Good shot. There's so much to talk about, and I've had a few guests on. There's no guests on today, and I just kind of want to get on here and sort of, I don't know, I wouldn't say rant. I would say more like put a few things in my mental order, things that I believe to be important. Why I haven't spoken so heavily on this situation in Canada one way or the other. It's more than the convoy, it's more than everything. This is literally a total piece of everything that's going on, and it ties in with the entire world. When you look at the small thing, like the convoy, right? You see, and I say small thing, I don't mean it to be rude. I say when you look at one piece of the entire puzzle, i.e. the convoy, you see aggression and you see joy. And now if you expand upon that, you see, specifically you, the listener right now, listening to me, Richard, you see everything from your personal perspective, everything from your past, everything from your future, every piece of research that you've ever done, every piece of everything that you've ever taken in. Then you see the convoy, you see the truckers, you see the protests. So in your eyes, there is one hell of a story going on. It's the story that fits into your mold. So one of the biggest problems that we have with this is that every single person out there that is fighting this, and I don't mean fighting like fighting the convoy. I mean like every single person that's observing this sees it through their level of trauma, sees it through their level of life experience, sees it through their level of everything. They see it through their level. And then when you try to communicate your level to somebody else, That person then sees the convoy through their trauma. And then they hear you talking about the convoy with different tonalities because it's not their trauma that they're hearing. They're hearing the convoy through your trauma and through your story and through how you choose to perceive it based on your life experience. And then we start fighting each other about it, and we see this and we see that. And everybody seems to have this point right now where we all want to be right. It seems to be important that I aggressively get my point out to make sure that you understand that I'm right. At which point, anyone having a conversation, again, just simply about the one aspect, the convoy, nobody's listening to anybody. Everybody's just barking. And when you're a truth seeker, a freedom fighter, anything that you want to call it, your idea and the initial purpose of everything that we've ever done was to just sort of find the answer and find where we fit in this. And as a truth seeker myself and as an answerer wanterer, I'm the same. So every single thing that I see, I'm just seeing through my trauma. And everything that you're listening to me say is now you listening to my story, basically the same thing that you've seen, except for now you're hearing the inflection of my traumas, my life, my experience. But it's the same story. The same thing is happening out there. And when we try to fight it, when we try to fight each other, when we decide that my point is right and that you're not listening to me and that this, that, and the other thing, or that people, this is one of the big things too, people want to make follow-up assumptions. I posted on my Instagram not too long ago, and I had a lady say, so you saying that anyone that watches a little bit of the news is brain dead. And I'm like, why on earth would you assume that that's what's going on here? You can read the post. It's a couple of posts back, but it sparked a huge engagement. And it was just saying what it stemmed from was the post that I put up there that was just saying, it's amazing watching people give you the fluoride stare. Essentially is what it said. I'm ad-libbing here. I'm not, I don't remember what it was exactly. The people that watch the news, they reiterate this stuff, and I see this, and I'm like, oh, it's ridiculous. So this lady comes on who's been following the Instagram account, and again, the Instagram account isn't necessarily a political account. Yeah, we drop some politics on there, and every single time we do, we get a bunch of Karens pissed off at us, and they just abandon ship, and it's hilarious because they announce it before they go. I've talked about that in the past. It does make me laugh quite a bit. Like, if you're out of here, cool. Like, if you're gonna be like, you've pissed me off, I don't agree with this, after like following me for a year, fuck, man. We don't have time for closed-minded people because there are different opinions and there's different energy to every single aspect of everything that can be put out there. So when you say to yourself, I'm going to leave an account, and you feel like you have to make a fucking note of it. I have to let the account holder know that we're out of here. Like, that shit's hilarious. That's just pure ego. That's pure third dimensional. And if you're on a soul searching mission, if you're on a shadow work mission, if you're on a mission that has you delving into self, then you're not going to do that sort of thing. You're not going to be that. So anyone that's doing that, you're just following the motions and you're not really putting in any effort. You're not really even trying. You're just stating that you're trying, but like, I'm following these accounts, so I'm doing the shadow work, but you're not, until you realize that you need to be. And then things like that just fall by the wayside. Your egoic needs just fall by the wayside. Back to Instagram. There's so many things out there that, we can fight about. There's so many things out there that we can fight about. We can fight about the Instagram. We can fight about posts. We can fight about what you think and what I think. And I had, this epiphany as I'm reading these comments. And yeah, I don't read all of them, but I do read some of them. And this thread was entertaining. These two people were going back and forth and shitting on each other on this thread. And I'm like, why would you come to a motivational account and just shit on each other? That's not to say, why would you come to an emotion or a motivational account with a difference of opinion? I get that, right? But if you're trying to motivate yourself, and you're needing like other outside sources of influence, which you absolutely are. Every single thing that we take in is an outside source of influence. It's one of those things that just has us aware of kind of where we are. Every single thing that we see externally influences how we feel internally. But the rub there is every single thing that we see externally is a trauma, an internal trauma that we need to heal. So as these two are fighting, I'm sitting there going, well, I guess they either need to carry on until they figure it out, not on this thread, but these two entities need to fight every single person that's out there until they figure out sort of where they are and what their purpose is and why they're doing what they're doing. So it's not up to me to interject. I mean, I just get kind of a laugh that, you know, if you're trying and you're working and you don't, you know, you're not actually doing anything. Like if you're just so quickly to write down or say whatever you want to say and without putting any sort of forethought into it, you know, really, what are you doing? Social media is just that. I mean, we're raised by an entire generation of people that are keyboard warriors. You know, nobody's getting punched in the face anymore. And that's truth. You know, I grew up in an era where you fucking got punched in the face. You run your mouth, talk shit, get hit. That was fact. That was law. That was playground rules. Playground rules. Whatever. Playground rules. Right? If you were being dumb and annoying and obnoxious and stupid and running your mouth or whatever it is you're doing, chances are you're either going to get shoved over or you're going to get punched in the face. And if you've got really good friends, you took kidney punches. You guys remember punching each other in the kidneys? Ha ha, good times. Can't do that anymore. Right? Everybody's soft and sensitive. And now we have, you know, this, again, right back to this political stance. As we stand here facing this literally world-changing phenomenon going on in Ottawa, we have an absolute overt abundance of pain, aggression, anger, and we have this weird, I don't know, social cloud around it that is the people that see things through what they see things through. And Google is notorious for this. Google will show you something. Like if you, depending on your searches, Google will show you stuff. So anything that people are doing, and I'm not talking to you guys, the audience, you clearly know this, but there are a lot of people out there that don't know that their search report, what they're naturally shown, is a reflection of things that they've looked for, is a reflection of things of places that they want to be. I mean, I was drifting around on TikTok because, again, Denzel Washington said, if you don't watch the news, you're uninformed. If you do watch the news, you're misinformed. So TikTok to me is brutal. It's so absolutely detrimental. I shouldn't say that. I've heard that because TikTok is Chinese, I've heard that the algorithm is entertainingly askew. So anybody that is in China that's getting major hits, that sort of thing, or gaining popularity, gaining followers, you know, being rewarded, essentially how the system rewards. The people that are being rewarded in China are people that are inventing things, doing things, creating things, doing forward momentum for themselves and for their country. You know, whatever it is, something cool, something neat, something acrobatic, something scientific. The algorithm rewards intelligence, and in the rest of the world, the algorithm rewards dumb dances and shaking your body bits. And this is a truth. Like, look at every single person that's got, you know, a following. You know, they're half naked. But if you're too big, like if you're a plus size woman and you try to get naked or half naked or anything like that, well, that'll bump you out. That'll get you banned. So there's a fine line they want you to walk. But if everybody around the world is getting rewarded for doing dumb dances and shaking their body parts, and they're not, you know, having to do anything or think about anything or anything like that, there's an entire generation of girls, guys, kids, people growing up to believe that they're important based on what the body what the body can do for them, or how they looked, not based on how they think or who they are as an entity, right? And then we have an entire generation of Chinese kids growing up being rewarded for intelligence and logic and science and things like that. It's an interesting dynamic, an interesting dilemma. Now, at the same time, aside from all that, you've got, you know, I just drift around, so I don't really know how it figures out my algorithm. I guess by how long I watch a certain video, it then shows me more videos. I see a lot of monster trucks. I like that stuff. Anything loud and crushing cars. Remember, that was a lot of fun back before we had to take everything so seriously. But I digress. So now, the algorithm is showing me these things, and I'm looking at this stuff, and then I come across this one that is Stephen Colbert. Like, there was a time that he was funny, or there was a time that I was so asleep that he was funny. But he puts this on, and he's making fun of the Freedom Convoy. And I just wrote a comment in there, and I'm like, man, people are dying up in this city. You know, there's been report of 2 or 3 people that have been trampled, stepped on, whatever, died in custody. And I don't know if there's any truth to those. I don't know. I mean, they've apparently been double sourced. And it was in the Vancouver Times. I looked at this stuff. It's out there to find. But I'm not stating it fact. I've seen people get gun butted. I've seen people get trampled by horses. I've seen total violence, and I make a comment and you just see all of these people lash out at me. And these are probably the same people that were like defund the police, when BLM was burning down their cities. We have a peaceful protest and people are breaking bylaws, loud noises, parking infractions, and our prime minister calls for a state of emergency. And then the media backs it all up. So the media is backing this all up and everybody that's watching it is just, oh, I can't believe how terrible these people are. Right. And in the interim, the entire time it's been going on, there hasn't been any, like the news reports on COVID up, COVID down. Like this has been going on for a month. And in Canada, there hasn't been a single report on COVID numbers for the whole month. They've just been talking about other stuff. There's been other things that are more important. So this fear that they're constantly pushing on people is changing drastically. And to me, it's just incredible to watch. So as you're trying to have the conversation with these talking heads, and maybe these people are real, maybe they're not, maybe they're TikTok bots, but maybe they're real life and they want to hate. They want to hate and they want you to be stupid for thinking anything other than what Stephen Colbert said. Right? So now we have this massive divide. Again, this growing divide that's going on all across everything. And it's been known or has been called or could be referred to, if you're a Christian, biblical, whatever, as the ascension. Those who are able to see and able to think and able to sort of act on their own and be, self-cognitive are looking at the great unwashed masses. And I'm not insulting anybody when I say this, if people want to take offense to it, I'm sure they will. But again, you're just going to hear, what was it? Bill Burr said it as, whatever comes out of my mouth comes out of my mouth. And everything else goes into your brain and then it becomes yours. It's no longer mine. It becomes yours. You're going to take your trauma and your story and everything. You're going to turn it around and you're going to say back to me the things that I just said to you based on your life story. But that's not what I said. That's not what I'm saying. And that's not how this is going, but it's up to you. And I laughed at that. I'm like, that's so perfect. Everybody wants to be a hero. Everybody wants to be funny. Everybody wants to yell from the peanut gallery. And that's cool, right? Because every single thing that you take in, as you're listening to them talk, as you're either being attacked or you're having a response, what have you, to anything, it's to help you understand your position a little bit better. It's to help you come up with a reason to defend yourself. And it's not to defend yourself to them. It's to defend yourself or to give yourself a thicker, firmer foundation to stand on what you're standing on. Because you'll notice that all of the attacks are the same. Whenever you make a point that goes against the mainstream media, you're met with the same thing. It's the ad hominem attack. You're an idiot. You're a piece of shit. You're a tinfoil hat guy, blah, blah, blah. Right. But the truth just keeps coming out. So when we refer to the ascension, there are times in our lives where we just don't have to necessarily focus on this stuff. We don't need to focus on these people. We don't need to focus on this thing. We're being cleared out to find other like-minded people, other people that are doing what they want to do. And then when you stop focusing on those that are literally anchoring you or holding you back, you can move into higher realms. Higher levels, higher layers, however you want to talk about it, and whatever words you need to use inside your head to be like, I know what you're saying. I want more for myself. I want to evolve. I want to create. And that's one of the craziest things out there. So back to the sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I just finished a workout. I'm exhausted. I'm tired, but I'm having a lot. You get so creative after you do something physical that I had to record this sort of on the spot as I was thinking about these things as they were all running through my head. But we've got the War Measures Act, the war measures being enacted. We've got this really interesting position where this is all just bylaw infractions. There were no war measures when the natives, the Canadian natives, were blocking the pipeline. And asking certain things and they didn't care. It just ran rickshaw. Like the government just did whatever they wanted. There was no War Measures Act when, people were burning down the streets of Toronto in the 2010. You can look this stuff up. There's cars on fire, cop cars on fire. There's no, that was all violent protest. And then you think to yourself, well, who was implanted there? Who was this? Who was that? So for parking tickets and noise infractions, they call a state of emergency. Basically, the Prime Minister of Canada declares war on the country. And then what happens after that, normally in the House of Commons, is that you're able to vote it down. So all of the opposition could vote this down because it's kind of absurd. But then Trudeau decides that he's going to shut down Parliament on the Friday or the Thursday or the Friday. which means that all of this chaos that's going on up there right now, where all of these people are getting injured, all of these peaceful protesters are just getting destroyed, arrested, assaulted, beaten by the police. It puts you in a position where this is all happening over the course of 5 or 6 days because Trudeau enacted it, then shut down Parliament. And then once Parliament gets reenacted, I'm assuming that they're going to vote down the War Times Act, and then it won't be a thing anymore. But in the interim, what's happened is they've shown you we can seize your accounts, we can be aggressive, we can do whatever you want. And then you have all these police out there that are just being atrocious. There's I don't know if you guys have seen this, but there's something going on. It's the social musical ride. It's basically a group of police officers in a WhatsApp group chat, and somebody screenshotted it. Somebody in the conversation screenshotted it and shared it, and that went everywhere. That went all around everything. So I don't know a single person that hasn't seen this yet. And in there were names and phone numbers of people, right? But this stuff isn't going to make the news. And because it's not going to make the news in the conversation, I mean, I'm not even going to get into it because there are pieces of shit out there that are in the protest that are like looking for violence. Granted. And there are cops in the same boat, right? So if you've got 100,000 people down there, one of those dickheads is looking to cause a scene. And with the police, you throw 100,000 police together, you're going to get, 20 of them that are just, more than 20 probably, you're going to get a bunch of them that have no penises, that want to fucking start a riot, because they're egoic and they're cops and they're the man, right? What the cops don't realize, though, is that the people that they're fighting for, the empire that they're fighting for, would fucking slit their throats in a heartbeat. Because all of those people, all they're doing is defending a lie, defending a narrative, defending a story, and defending the ultra rich with their money and their power and their this, that, and the other thing. Like somebody, who was it? Sam Tripoli. I heard a clip of Sam Tripoli. He goes, "Do you think Darth Vader gave a shit about any of the stormtroopers on the Death Star?" No. Right? These people are just acting out based on what the government says. And don't get me wrong. I'm not anti-cop. I'm not defund the police. I'm none of this shit. I'm just saying that there are a bunch of fucking pricks that are on the police force. And they're on the police force because before they became cops, they were fucking pricks and they had something to prove and they're egoic and they want to run around and push people around. Now, that's not 100% of the police. That's not even 40% or 60 or whatever the hell. Right? But it certainly is a few. And those are the ones that are going to get filmed. Those are the ones that are going to be the most loud. Those are the ones that are going to be everywhere, right? These people are fucking dicks, right? Just like there are dickhead protesters, there are dickhead police. And I mean, back in the day, the image of cops was this thing, the cop would show up and save your cat from the tree. How fucking great is that? It's beautiful. But now I don't know a single person that would be in trouble and think to call the cops. The cops are not your friend. They're not here to help. This is like the narrative that's going on. The police are out patrolling to take money from you. The whole purpose of a cop car is to take your money, right? You see a cop car, you're like, am I doing anything wrong? And it's not like, am I breaking the law? Am I hurting anybody? Am I being a general piece of shit? It's, am I going 2 kilometers over the speed limit, right? A posted speed limit that started back when cars were unsafe to travel a certain thing, right? Are these guys going to take money from me? And it's not like, am I a criminal? Am I doing anything wrong? It's, am I doing anything that's going to cause me to lose money, right? And that's the thing. These cops are out enforcing these laws because they're supposed to serve and protect because, brainwashing. So you're seeing that on full display in this social musical ride. And what you're not going to see is that shit make the CBC. You're not going to see that on mainstream media unless they figure out a way to spin it. Just like they trampled that Indigenous woman. And then they stated that literally that she threw her walker at the horse. I couldn't fucking believe that when I saw that. But what's happening here is, we can be upset about this. We can be up in arms about this for sure. But if the intent of all of this is to cripple us and to keep us low vibrational and to keep us feeling angry. And again, I say low vibrational and there's so many people out there that are like, oh no, he's new era. He's fucking, or not new era. That's a baseball hat. Whatever it is, new something. Anyway, I can say low vibrational. I could say feeling angry. I could say being dark. I could say, keeping your energy off, just being in a bad place. And at the end of the day, this podcast, the entire sentiment behind the Mental Mastery Alliance is to make you understand that you have every ounce of power inside you to unload depression and anxiety. And both of those things stem from the fact that every single thing that we've ever seen ever goes against what we naturally know to be true. depression and anxiety and all that are fueled by alcohol, are fueled by all the things that they've made legal, and are deterred by all the things that they've made illegal. Anything that's going to open your mind's eye, anything that's going to make you realize that you don't need to be a slave to this system, they've made it illegal. Anyway, that's a whole other podcast. But now we sit here with this atrocity of these bastard police officers in this one group chat. And the fact that it won't make the news is hilarious. The fact that it won't make the news is just the news, the established news showing its hand, raising awareness. By their lack of action and by their lack of this, that, and the other thing is they're now showing you exactly who they are. And people are worried about the evil side of things taking over. But the deception is playing its hand. The deception is absolutely playing its hand. So the more they hide from you, or the more they attempt to hide from you, the more that everything is open, the more that you can see, the more you understand that it was a lie. We have been deceived. There was a trick in here, and evil can't win this. So as this evil empire that we see in front of us is growing and growing and growing and expanding and collapsing, what's coming up through the breakdown is the positive, is the people that want to live in a proper state of mind, a proper position where we're not slaves. And right now we're all slaves to our government. And there are people that want to defend that. Right? There are people that want to defend that. There are people that are going to get mad at me right now for saying that we're slaves to our government. The governments give us roads and garbage removal. You're out of your mind, right? These are all illusions. We can handle roads and garbage removal. We can handle everything on our own, without giving away 55% of our income. Right? There's so much out there that people aren't paying attention to because they're not supposed to, because they've been brainwashed. And you know what? You've been brainwashed. I've been brainwashed. We've all been brainwashed. But look at us all right now, sitting here, enjoying this podcast, understanding that there's so much more to life, understanding that there's so much more that we can create, do, be, see, and we feel it. And the more we feel it, the more we understand it, the more we see it, the more we create what we need to create to become the person that we're supposed to become. So through the pain and through the chaos, we ourselves ascend to a higher level. Heaven on earth, it's been said to be. Here we are. We're in a different realm, a different reality, a different plane. And the more you figure this out, the more you understand this, the more you get the opportunity to do it, to step into it. And it's absolutely stunning and it's absolutely beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, I could go on and on and on about, the next level and all that sort of stuff. But I think, at 25 minutes, I've prattled on long enough. Thank you guys all so much for listening to this again. I didn't want to speak on this from any point of aggression or from any sort of thing. It's just, and it doesn't make me wishy-washy. I'm not standing here going, well, you should this or you should that. I think this episode was pretty clear that if you stand firmly in the middle and stand firmly behind what you support, you understand that there is a massive shift going on in this entire universe. And everything that takes us away from truly focusing all of our energy on that shift is distractionary, right? COVID was a distraction, right? And inside the COVID distraction, we rolled into the trucker distraction, and out from the trucker distraction, we're going to roll into communism distraction and humanity distraction, and how, certain freedoms were taken, and how how the CBC, the news, isn't going to be reporting anything. That's going to be another distraction. But every last one of these distractions, ladies and gentlemen, helps other people wake up to the illusion that you're already privy to. So if you were awake going into this has been one hell of a couple of years. I know. I rolled into this going, this is brutal, right? And then you say to yourself, how long does this have to last? Well, this has to last until enough people are starting to see it. So it's unfortunate for a lot of people that we had to live through all this and be aware of it from day one. But remember that every single person that didn't have a clue, there are a lot of people waking up. My 73-year-old mother can have open conversations about this stuff now. And to me, that is extremely heartwarming. Extremely heartwarming. Wherein before all this started, I was the crazy tinfoil hat outcast member of the family. And now people are talking to me. People are having open conversations. My mother isn't stressed or feared or worried. And that's a huge deal to me. Huge deal. And not a lot of people are talking about that because we were taught to be in fear of everything at all times without realizing that we don't really have to be. Ladies and gentlemen, to me, this was a great cast. I had to get this off my chest. I had a lot of things, obviously, I wanted to say, and I wanted to stand firm in my position And I hope I did that. So I guess then, in the infamous words of Red Green, keep your stick on the ice.
Thank you for listening to today's Mental Mastery Alliance podcast. Let the team know you're listening by using the hashtag MMA and Mental Mastery Alliance. Want more motivation? Be sure to follow online on Instagram at Mental Mastery Alliance and on Facebook at Mental Mastery Alliance. And remember, your perception creates your reality. Make it a great day.
You got it, Pontiac.